Hi guys, this is Igor from Vinous Reverie Wine Merchant here in Walnut Creek, and it's time for June's Wine Club selections. Alright, we got some fun stuff this time, as usual. And we have actually a couple of Greek wines, which I'm very excited to introduce. Alright, so the first one is going to be the Greek white wine. And if you're in the old wine club, you'll receive this wine. So this is from Oneps producer, and it's called Apla, which is a blend. So the producer, they don't have any of their own vineyards, but their philosophy is that they source indigenous grapes, preferably from old vines from different parts of Greece. And this is kind of like a great introduction because you have Malagousia, you have Assyrtiko, and Vidiano. These are the three varieties. Obviously, they're indigenous varieties, and they come from parts come from Macedonia, Thrace, and Crete. And it's a beautiful wine. You have kind of Malagousia grape, which to me is very similar to Viognier. It's very like floral, very aromatic. But then you have Assyrtiko and you have Vidiano, which are both high acidity grapes. So here you have a beautiful balance of aromatics plus great acidity, and I think it forms like a really beautiful wine. So yeah, I'm very excited for you guys to try this wine. So that's in the white wine selections. The other white wine is more familiar, but a great expression of the grape. So this is New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, from Clos Henry. So Clos Henry is actually Sancerre family, the bourgeois family. They're a great Sancerre family, and they wanted to expand their kind of production outside of Sancerre. So they were looking for 12 years for a perfect spot, and they found it in Marlborough. So their production is, they're really terroir focused. Just like they are in Sancerre, they are in New Zealand. So the sites that they have big vineyard sites, and it's on glacial deposits. And they're actually one of very few, maybe the only one winery in New Zealand that's certified organic and biodynamic. So this, and they dry farm. So they're organic and they dry farm. So the idea with dry farming is that you don't put a lot of water for the vines, so you want them to struggle and reach deep into the soils. That's where the terroir character shows up. So here, this wine definitely, to me, it's more mineral than typical Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, and it's weightier. To me, Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand are they're manually picked, so you get like a lot of mediocre fruit. They got a kind of grassy character. But this is more like, this is savory on the nose, really savory notes, and like I said, a big mid palate with like weightier body to it. Great expression of it. It's one of the best Sauvignon Blancs that I've had from New Zealand. I really want to introduce to the club. So that's the other white wine, and it's also part of the mixed club. So if you're in a mixed club, you will get the Sauvignon Blanc, and the other wine you get is another beautiful Greek wine. This one is from Crete, 100% from Crete, and it's Liatiko grape from Daloufakis is the name of the producer. Also certified organic. Liatiko is a variety that goes back a couple of centuries BC. So it's a variety that's been around a long time, but now kind of Greece in the last several decades is kind of putting their own wines on the map, and I think this is an excellent introduction to the variety. It's a light-bodied wine. It's got beautiful like red fruit and herb spices on the nose. Very beautiful fruit like that, in a Pinot realm. But it's got like a little tannic structure, more tannins I think than typical Pinot. So yeah, it's a wine that once you kind of open up, I think it really expresses itself beautifully. Will go great with like a lot of Greek dishes. The other interesting thing about Greek wines is that recently I've had conversations with a few people that basically said like, I tried a Greek wine before and I didn't like it. So whenever somebody says that to me, I always think of Retsina. That's kind of very distinctive Greek style of wine that has kind of this resin color, resin like taste to it. It's very distinctive. So I could see why people wouldn't like it, but I think they start lumping all the Greek wines into that kind of bucket. And I think it's kind of missing out when you try to do that. You have beautiful white wines, like I just mentioned, from indigenous grapes that taste nothing like Ricina, and you have beautiful red wines, a lot of indigenous varieties with their own expression. So I think, you know, this is a treasure trove of great wines all over Greece. So I think this is a great introduction too. So that you would get this if you're in a mixed club, along if you're in a red variety club. And the other wine you'll get is from Tenuta di Sesta. Alright, this is an estate that basically goes back to the 1400s. They were formed around the same time that the whole Republic of Siena was formed. So this is from Montalcino. So Montalcino is probably the most famous town in all of Tuscany. Brunello is made in Montalcino. But this is Rosso Montalcino, so they call it baby Brunello because it's typically made from younger vines and maybe not from the top vines overall. But it's a great introduction to to the Sangiovese grape, and I think it's a great value compared to Brunellos. So this is a good example. So yeah, I think if you like Sangiovese grape, you'll enjoy this wine. All right, so this is the wine, the second wine in the red club. All right, so these were the Adventurous Club. All right, now let's jump into high society. A couple of fun wines. I think a classic, and let's start with the classic. So this is red Burgundy, which is Pinot Noir from aloxe-corton. So this is very exciting to have a wine from the Côte d'Or in the wine club, because Burgundies, man, they're expensive wines, and just about any level of Côte d'Or, even Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, they wouldn't fit into the club. So I was excited to find this one from Xavier Durand. He's a third generation winemaker, and he's kind of like a perfectionist. He only wants to work with estate fruit, and he makes beautiful expression of the Pinot Noir grape from Burgundy, the classic, the most renowned Pinot Noir. And if you were in the club, I think I'm very excited for you to try this this wine, because I think you'll enjoy it. All right, and the second wine is a little less usual, but beautiful nonetheless, from aloxe-corton. This is Sasella Valtellina Superiore. So Valtellina is a region in the northern part of Lombardy. Very high elevation vineyards. In fact, they call picking grapes in Valtellina as heroic winemaking, because the grapes have to be terraced and they're held by like stones from to retain the vineyards. Some wineries actually use a helicopter to bring the grapes to their winery, because the vineyards are just so steep. They use kind of one of those old style pulleys to put grapes down the vineyards into a place where they could actually bring them to the winery. So this is a really good example of Sasella. Sasella is one of the great vineyards within Valtellina. And Grisone, which is the name of this cuvée, it's a 8-acre plot that belongs to aloxe-corton. So organic winemaking as well. And this is a fantastic example of Mountain Nebbiolo. If you never had it, Mountain Nebbiolo before, it's much different than Barolo and Barbaresco. You kind of have more aromatics on the nose. And the fruit is silkier. There is tannic structures like old Nebbiolo grapes have it, but it's not as big tannins like Barolo. So it's a lighter bodied, more aromatic with beautiful silky tannins. Great example of Alpine Nebbiolo. So you have red Burgundy and Alpine Nebbiolo in the High Society Club. This is very exciting. I hope you guys will enjoy it. So this is the overview for all the wines, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you.